atmosphere greets us tonight at the Cintas Center, where the 12th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers are in town, trying to hand the Xavier Musketeers their first loss of this young season. Hi again, everybody. Alongside my partner, Jim Jackson, I'm Kevin Kugler. There is a lot to talk about between these two teams, but let's start with the biggest guys on the floor. Go to the front court.
Well, no, it's a little bit different because in the era of three-point shooting, we focus on the backcourt, but it's a battle of front courts in this situation, but similar but different. If you look at Xavier from their perspective, not as physical, but love to get up and down the court. Nunji, Fremantle. Nunji can step from behind the three-point line and knock it in. Two excellent passers, high-low, so look for that to be very active, and then running the court early, and then kind of more of a bruising style of basketball with Indiana, with Trace Jackson Davis, who can beat you inside with a soft touch, but then Race Thompson has that energy about him, keep him off the offensive board. A great matchup in the front court.
Your starting lineups are sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee, and you know we don't want to discriminate against the backcourt. So Colby Jones, big entrance into the starting lineup. It was questioned all week long. Injured his ankle in practice on Monday. Would he go tonight? Sean Miller says he will go. We're going to see what he can do.
Yeah.
There's no chance he's going to injure it anymore, Jim, so they're going to send him out there and play.
And I love the fact that he starts the game because why? Because you warm up early. You got the lather going. You feel good about yourself. Now, how he disperses his minutes, meaning he's going to get a little tired early because of the excitement and adrenaline, it's going to be something that we need to keep our eye on.
Well, this place is electric tonight to start off. Gavitt Games, sold-out crowd. Sule Boom working it around to Jack Nunji. Kiki Tandy, 14 on the shot clock. Opening possession for the Musketeers. Fremantle against Millard Cobb. 6 to shoot. Will not go, and Xavier Johnson up the floor.
Yeah, great defense that time by Millard Cobb to take away the baseline. Then he had a little help on top by Race Thompson that kind of took away what could have been a nice spin move by Fremantle.
Sean Miller, when Indiana's on offense, the Xavier head coach very concerned about the driving of Xavier Johnson, not as a scorer, but as a distributor and a creator for his offense.
Well, I see the early double team inside on Trace Jackson Davis, and there's Race Thompson right there with offensive rebound.
Rebounding turnovers huge for both of these teams tonight. Wrap around, Trace Jackson Davis for 2.
Well, it's the patience inside. Again, we're talking about two teams that are senior-oriented or upperclassmen, so the patience is going to be there. Even though this is their first competition against real deep competition, it's going to be interesting to see what team settles down early, Kevin.
Kiki Tandy has it taken away. Jalen Hood-Schifino with a steal. 2-on-1. Cop to the rim. Reverse, no. Follow-up by Trace Jackson Davis, yes.
Well, that's an area, too. I talked to Sean Miller before the game. In transition, Xavier needs to get back because if not, you get the initial score or the offensive rebound like we just saw.
2 possessions, 2 offensive boards, 2 buckets for Indiana. It's exactly the way Mike Woodson would like this to go, with his guys up front getting things done, and it's the big concern that Sean Miller had about those bigs of Indiana.
Well, I mean, they play defense, and this is a very good defensive team, and we'll get into that as we bleed into the game. But understanding that for Indiana, it's about getting stops, and then if they can get out and run, in particular off of turnovers, the advantage is there, particularly when you're on the road.
Step back for Tandy. One and done for Xavier. Race Thompson up the floor. For trying to get it, Sule Boom called for the foul, his first. Mike Woodson in his second season, coaching experience with 7 NBA franchises. He'll tell you that his highlight was having Jim Jackson on his roster. Yeah.
No doubt. I gave him, he doesn't have them, but he had some gray hair. He had some hair before, and I wore it out on him.
You wore it out?
Yeah, when we were in Cleveland. I love Woody to get that, tough ass to come back as a coach. Being a former player, high expectations, but he's doing an outstanding job thus far.
It's a tough job at Indiana.
Period.
Yeah, I mean, it just is. 2 to shoot. Cobb trying to get this shot off in time. He does, and the rebound, Jack Nunji, good defensive trip for Xavier.
Yeah, excellent defense that time, and the beauty was that Xavier played defense without foul and didn't reach to try to slap the ball away from Race Thompson, see if they can capitalize on the offensive end.
And check Xavier Johnson with his first personal foul. reaching in with that left hand, and Johnson, the former Pitt Panther, with his first. Here's Boom for three. I mean, how much are these students going to love having Sule Boom hit threes? Because every time it goes through, they yell boom.
That's the thing. You always want to have a nice little ring to the name of the turnover. That time by Indiana. One thing that has plagued this backcourt over recent years is not valuing the basketball.
Tough shot for Colby Jones, a little short. Hood Schifino will push it up the floor. Numbers if they hurry. Pop down the baseline, won't go, and the rebound saved by Colby Jones.
Yeah, Colby, way to get back. I mean, the ankle was fine because right there on that transition, he was able to get back, and then Boom just kind of overthrows and leads Nungy. Now, keep our eye on that, is that as you see this replay, Zach Fremantle and also Jack Nungy love to run the floor. Why? Because they can get one-on-one opportunities in the post early before that Indiana defense can get set. That possession, just not able to carry him in that pass from Boom.
But Nungy had the step. He had the ability to get there as Boom gets the rebound off the corner miss, and now he'll push up the floor for Xavier. Here's Jones, looking good early on that ankle, and he gets the two. I see no ill effects from the sprained ankle on Monday.
Excuse me, what happened? who had what? You know, fortunately for him, it wasn't a high, sprained ankle. It was something that he just needed to get some rest. And speaking, was good defense that time on Schifino.
And now Boom looking to push again, going tempo and a foul. What, Sule Boom putting the pedal to the metal and a timeout after the foul.
Well, Sule Boom is hype, but so is Colby Jones. Somebody said it was an ankle issue. I can't see it already. Xavier slim lead up one.
There's only one. 5-4 lead for Xavier. This is the first meeting in Cincinnati between these two teams since 1939. This was the write-up that day in the Xavier student paper. Xavier, no match for Hoosiers. Indiana exhibiting the fastest breaking offense the Musketeers have had to face this year. Left the blue and white groggy in a 48-39 victory. 48-39. Fast-paced.
Well, you see, Indiana leads the series 8-1, but the last meeting Xavier was able to pull off in 2007. But I love these cross-conference matchups early. Unlike football, you can afford to figure out who you are as a team. And if you lose early, it may be a team out of conference that the style you may face in the tournament. Tom Izzo has done it for years. Maybe got criticized sometimes for doing it, but it gives you a barometer, the coaches and players, to where you're at and where you ultimately need to be as a player and as a team.
Well, and I asked Sean Miller earlier, we were talking with him, and I said, what do you want to get out of this? He said, I don't really know. He said, I don't know my team yet.
Yep.
It's still too new for me. I'm anxious to see how they respond in an atmosphere like this, and this is a great atmosphere.
Well, the beauty about his team is that they're older, so you don't have to teach as much. So now the communication is a little bit different. Now, there's going to be some dead times there because you got to get to know the coach and players, but having that maturity helps speed up the process a lot faster.
But Schifino with the toss to Thompson, the three in and out, of the rebound, Jack Nungy.
On that play there, it's going to be tougher for Race Thompson to see a great pass inside to Fremantle to finish inside. And that's the quick post-up. But when Race Thompson is trying to insert the ball into Trace Jackson-Davis, you can just lay off of him. And he's not a shooter, so they're going to give him that shot. You'd rather see a guard try to input the ball to Jackson-Davis down low.
Yeah, Thompson just 1 for 6 this year from 3 in the early going. Hood Schifino over to Trace Jackson-Davis, 10 on the shot clock. Indiana's missed their last 5. Trace Jackson-Davis will change that, taking Nungy off the dribble.
And that's where he has the advantage in regards to foot speed to be able to navigate the baseline and get to the other side of the rim.
Jones, the entry to Fremantle for the flush. What was that you said at the top of the broadcast? Big guys for Xavier, big guys for Indiana.
Exactly. But then the critical part is the guard play, because with these bigs, you do need someone to be able to facilitate the offense.
Jalen Hood Schifino.
Let's see, right, going through the screen right there. And that's a shoulder, and they're going to take maybe a look at this, but it's inadvertent. It's not an elbow. It's a shoulder. Now, they do have to look at it because it was above the neck, which is the proper thing to do, but I think it should be a quick review, seeing that it was more of a brush in regards to what happened, not something where the legal contact to the elbow to the head.
Larry Serrano and Don Daly will handle that. Third member of our crew tonight is Terry Oglesby. He's handling Sean Miller. Another look at this.
And that time, Chavino just trying to get underneath the screen at the same time that Fremantle was kind of moving down. I don't see anything other than Chavino getting the worst end of that.
Right. He's not feeling very good, but I'm not sure there's going to be anything extracurricular as a result of that.
No.
One more look, same result. So they've checked it out, and Jim Jackson, as you prognosticated, Indiana's going to inbound.
Well, I mean, that may be the only one of the year for me, so I'm going to take that W.
It's time to retire. It's been great working with Jim.
That's right.
Johnson will walk it up 10-6 lead early for Xavier. Xavier Johnson back into Trace Jackson Davis. He's got 6, all 6 for Indiana. There's the double. Extra pass to Kopp for 3. And the rebound batted around into the hands of Boone. Nice cut. Kunkel to the rim. A lot of contact, no call. Underneath, ball loose. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Xavier.
Well, I mean, two things can be right at the same time. Excellent offense in regards to the backdoor cut, but then very good defense by Indiana. May have gotten away with some contact, but that's one thing you got to have your head on a swivel when you're playing against the Xavier team. The backdoor cuts, and you see Kopp right there able to get his hands on the ball before Fremantle was able to establish himself.
And an unforced error on the inbound for Xavier, a turnover. 10-6 lead for Xavier. Drive up and in by Xavier Johnson, and Indiana within 2. Kunkel will work it over to Boom for 3. And it flashes through for Sule Boom. 13-8 advantage for Xavier. There's Trace Jackson Davis on the drive, caught the rim. He's got 8. He's been so effective early on. Inside, Fremantle, the hook and a foul.
Well, you go back, it's a little dribble penetration, but just enough to suck the Indiana defense in. Sule Boom able to knock it in. He was 0 for 2 for 3 from in their last outing against Fairfield, but that one was able to catch in rhythm. And outstanding high-low offense with Fremantle and Nungi inside.
Boom's been solid to start, Jim. 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist for Sule Boom, the UTEP grad transfer. He'll get a breather right now as Deontay Miles, the 7-foot junior, checks in for Jack Nungi. Also, Desmond Claude on the floor, one of the 2 freshmen for this Xavier squad. Sean Miller says the future has to be this year for both of the freshmen. Both of these teams can say that. Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to play a ton of minutes this year for Indiana. Caleb Banks, C.J. Gunn, all expected to see regular time for the Hoosiers.
Well, but those freshmen have the advantage of having senior, junior leadership. So a lot of the pressure is not on them to kind of carry the load. They can kind of make the mistakes, learn the game without having to deal with the pressure of trying to carry a team.
There's Trace Jackson-Davis again on the drive. The leave for Malik Renew. Another one of those freshmen, and Renew strong, got his own rebound, blocked away, stays with it. Look at Renew muscling it up and in. He has been a revelation early. 12 points per game in the early going off the bench. As Johnson tips it out of bounds, it'll stay with Xavier.
An outstanding freshman. Inside, one-on-one, feels the pressure, a little jump hook, a little strong, but as a shooter, you know where your miss is coming off at, and 1, 2, 3 tries, he's finally able to get it in.
Inbound to Claude. Point ball game. Good start to this one for both teams. And a foul on the floor. Fremantle fouled on his way down. Jordan Geronimo picks up his first. Fourth foul on IU, one whistled so far against Xavier. And a foul going the other way. This on the Musketeers. Deontay Miles with the screen picks up his first, and a turnover back to Indiana. Sean Miller a little perplexed. Good Shafino. Coming up on 12 minutes to play in this opening half. Renew on the baseline again, blocked away by Fremantle. And the ball loose, picked up by Kunkel.
Excellent help rotation that time by Zach Fremantle. Keep in mind in the last game between he and Nunji, it was 5 blocks. So excellent help defense.
Jones staying with it, got his own and put it back up and in. Sean Miller wasn't sure how much he'd be able to play tonight. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, right. I believe if he can walk and run, he was playing in this game. You better believe it.
Hands there to bat it out of bounds, and that'll take us to the under 12 media timeout.
Well, Kobe Jones, he's a warrior, he's a fighter. The ankle was not going to keep him out of this game. This is a prime time game, one you live for. He's able to come back.
In the first half, a moment ago, Xavier head coach Sean Miller in the huddle.
First of all, the most important thing, the team that wins the most wars wins the game. We got 2. All this is good. It's about being the best team in the third quarter. You got that. Best team. Right now, stay on the hole. Underneath out of bounds. We're in madman. You got to be ready. You got to line up. You got to compete. Right?
Common theme from Sean Miller's shoot-around practice earlier today. Gotta be ready, gotta compete, gotta work hard. That was something he was stressing with his group earlier today.
Yeah, because it doesn't come down to X and O's a lot of times, because these are 2 talented teams. Is being disciplined, is outworking your opponent, and staying true to who you are as a team. And we see that early in this game. And Sean talked about slowing it down a little bit to get some rhythm early.
Geronimo inside and a foul. No surprise, Indiana's work is coming in the paint. All 12 points in the paint tonight for IU.
Well, but that's where you can be able to dominate, and in their games thus far. And again, the opponents haven't been to the stature of Xavier, but what's your strength? Which is get the ball inside. So you don't stray away from that, because that's your bread and butter. And that's something that Indiana is showing right now, where they want to initiate their offense, end it, force Xavier to have to help inside.
Former Hoosier Jerome Hunter with the foul a moment ago. 1 for 2 at the line for Jordan Geronimo. And a 16-13 lead for Xavier. Nunji will hand it off to Jones with 15 to shoot. 10 on the shot clock. Kunkel with 6 to shoot. Kunkel back Back out to Jones, going to have to hoist. Jones, the three, won't go, and the rebound tipped around and out of bounds. Where will it go? It'll go to IU.
You know, that's very good defense that time by Indiana. Trey Galloway's scouting report. Kunkel wanted to catch, turn the corner, going to a strong hand on the right side, but that time Galloway jumped on that hand and forced him back into traffic. That's attention to detail in regards to paying attention to the scouting report.
Well, it's one of the things Mike Woodson has said about Trey Galloway. He plays extremely hard, especially on the defensive end. He really likes what he does defensively.
But KYG, know your game.
Yep.
You know who you are as a player. Try not to do too much, and this ball needs to be a little bit further outside on that pass for Tamar Bates, but good hands. Again, the deflection may not have caused a steal, but it forced a turnover for Xavier.
And now a foul on Tamar Bates. Bates picks up his first, 5th team foul on Indiana. Bates was a little frustrated with the turnover, and now the foul on the other end. Souley Boom's got to get that one in. He does to Nunji. Back to Boom. Step back 2. Little short. Indiana on the move. Ball loose. Geronimo and Fremantle tangled up. Possession arrow keeps it with the Hoosiers.
Good hustle by both Fremantle and Geronimo. You can't play with it. I mean, Zach Fremantle and Nunji, they get back on defense. And right here, just trying to poke it from behind. Now, how about that Souley Boom that came across the attempt to get a steal?
With Shafino. This is Trey Galloway on the drive. Got hung up inside. Ball loose and scooped up by Nunji. Fremantle working against Geronimo. Back out Kunkel for 3. Exactly how Xavier wants to draw it up. The bigs out to Kunkel for that 3. Rebound Fremantle, and the Musketeers with the lead in the ball. Tough catch. Nunji to the rim, counted, and the foul. Second foul on Malik Renew, the freshman with 2, and a chance for 3 for Jack Nunji.
Again, the strength of Indiana, getting the ball in the paint. The strength for Xavier is being able to play off of either Nunji or Fremantle in the paint. That time, Coach Woodson on the previous play wasn't happy with Tamar Bates because he wasn't supposed to help so deep inside to give up the 3 to Kunkel. They want to kind of play more one-on-one, take away some space, but don't commit. When you do that, Xavier will make you pay over the top.
Jack Nunji, this is his 5th game in his college career against Indiana. Averaged 7 points per game as an Iowa Hawkeye against these Hoosiers. But tonight, Nunji on the board with his first 3, and there's a chance to get the 3 right back as Xavier Johnson will go to the line for one more.
Well, you get the ball up quickly. Now the Xavier defense is not as set. A good brush screen by Trace Jackson. They was able to knock it in, and then Xavier Johnson strong up top, able to absorb a little bit of contact, able to get that in.
That is a big foul, Jim. That is 2 on Souley Boom. So 2 personals on Boom, and Xavier Johnson to the line for one more. Good answer for Indiana. 6-point game, 9 minutes to play first half. Kunkel, step back 3. Here comes Johnson on the run. Driving, finishing, Race Thompson. Hoosiers within 4.
Yeah, but long shots, long rebounds, unbalanced defense.
Wow, what a pivot by Nungy, and he stays with it for 2.
But that's an excellent play because you score for Indiana, but yet Nungy is able to sprint back, seal his man up the lane, and get a one-on-one opportunity. Speaking of which, it's Xavier Johnson once again able to beat his man off the dribble.
First foul on Claude.
Again, over the top, excellent footwork by Jack Nungy. Now look, he missed the dunk, but was able to get it right back. And because the offense was early, defensively, he didn't have a lot of red jerseys around the basket to get that defensive rebound.
You see Xavier Johnson at the line once more. This was the big concern with Sean Miller. How will they defend the drives specifically of Xavier Johnson? And he's taken it right to the rim the last 2 trips down the floor.
But it's been the early offense that opened it up. Xavier's been fine in their half-court defense when it's been set. But when Indiana, either in transition or a quick push after a make, that's when Xavier Johnson has been able to exploit some openings within that defense. So Xavier has to do a better job of loading up and getting back.
Kiki Tandy. 15 to shoot. Claude will cradle and get things going for Jones. Post entry. Hook shot. Fremantle using the bank late in Cincinnati.
He called it.
7 for Fremantle. Thompson, the open man. Can't cash in. Tandy the rebound. Nungy. There's Jones. 13 to shoot. Nice catch again by Nungy in the post against Trace Jackson Davis. Jack Nungy doing some work. Xavier up 9. Johnson again to the rack for 2 more.
Yep. Dribble penetration. And I like what Xavier Johnson is doing because last year sometimes he would settle for contested shots, but he's utilizing that quickness and athleticism to get downhill and break down the Xavier defense. Good block.
Well, Trace Jackson Davis, Fremantle stays with it, finds Jones on the baseline drive, and then Jones throws it away. Heard Shafino weaving to the rim. No, follow, yes! Trace Jackson Davis with the early hammer.
Yeah, and that's the 5th turnover by Xavier, an issue they've had in 2 out of the 3 games where they had 17-plus turnovers, averaging 15 on the year. And again, live ball turnovers, defense now set, Indiana able to take advantage of it.
Tandy's 3 is good. A splash in the net and a splash on the floor for Kiki Tandy. Hoosiers still looking for their first 3. Xavier 4 for 7 in this first half. Pop, step in 2. Rattles hold.
Well, I mean, the pump faking threat of being able to knock down the jump shot, open it up for Miller Kopp to get into a little bit closer distance, and good move, a good defense, and there's Nungy able to finish.
Thompson may have gotten a piece of that one. Here's Shafino feeding Trace Jackson Davis, and Tandy picked his pocket. Kiki saying no, no. Nungy in the post against Jackson Davis. Tough fadeaway.
I think Trace Jackson Davis did a better job of inching Nungy up a little bit more off the block, deep block, to force him to do it. But I tell you, it's some high-level basketball going on right now. But we mentioned at the top of the hour, the top of the show, it's all about these bigs a little bit. They set the tone for what's happening right now in this game. And when you can get deep penetration, now you get a layup in transition for Trace Jackson Davis. And then Kiki Listen, the backcourt can do a little damage too. Xavier up 6.
This matchup, but as the conferences go through these Gavitt games, right now it's the Big Ten with the edge over the Big East. 4-2 entering play tonight, so the Big East needs a big sweep in order to split the Gavitt games this year.
Yeah, and Xavier, like Indiana, they're both 3-1 in the Gavitt games. So, but the advantage, you're playing at home in front of your home crowd, not going to be the easy one. But again, I go back to this, is I love these early season matchups. We saw, Texas and Gonzaga. We saw Michigan State taking that L. I thought they could have won it against Gonzaga, but I love it early. We're just getting started.
Yes, we are. Tom Izzo's team, of course, has played half the top 25 at this point this season already.
Yeah.
Trace Jackson-Davis, 5 of 5 for 10 points tonight. Xavier Johnson, 3 for 3 for 8 points.
Yeah.
Rest of the team is 3 for 19. And a turnover by Indiana. That's turnover number 4 for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, coming out of timeout, Coach Woodson tried to get Trace Jackson-Davis isolated right there at the free throw line to go one-on-one. Excellent recognition by Xavier's defense to kind of get Indiana out of their set, ultimately forcing, a turnover on that possession.
Boom back out on the floor for Xavier with 2 fouls. Tandy, little crossover, gets to the rim for 2. He has really benefited from the coaching change. You can see it in his body. You can see it in his confidence right now.
Well, Sean Miller's a former point guard. So you start talking, and that's not taking anything away from the previous coaching staff. And speaking of having some weapons in your arsenal, really good high-low, Thompson into Jackson-Davis. But I think that's going to help settle Hickey down. Oh,
my goodness. Trace Jackson-Davis can pick that ball up in Bloomington when he gets home, because that's where it landed. What a swat. 3:53 remaining in the first. 33-27 was a block that will be thought of for a while in that Indiana huddle.
In studio, highlights from Georgetown and LMU in Jamaica. Plus, we're going to preview the final matchup of the Gavitt tip-off games between Villanova and Michigan State. Kevin and Jim, back to you.
Xavier 33-27, 3:53 remaining in this first half. Monday, Team USA begins their long-awaited FIFA World Cup journey as Christian Pulisic leads the Stars and Stripes against Gareth Bale and Wales. Coverage begins 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox and anywhere on the Fox Sports app. And of course, you're saying, what are the fixtures for Team USA? England on November 25th, Iran on November 29th in Group B. Coverage beginning 1 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Team USA fixtures.
we're not talking about lamps and.
We are not talking about lamps. No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Like saying, who's a fixture of FS1's college hoops coverage?
Kevin Kugler. Kevin Kugler. Kevin Kugler.
And travel. Zach Fremantle with the turnover for Xavier, their 6th.
Well, it was a little cross screen underneath misdirection play to get Fremantle on the move one-on-one against Race Thompson, but shuffled the puppies inside. Hate to turn it over coming out of the timeout. You want to get a shot out.
Jackson-Davis going to get a shot up. Oh, Nunji with the challenge, but a foul. Zach Fremantle called for the foul.
They got him right there on the arm. On the wrist, lightly. Let's see, right. And see, it depends, too, because some officials say that's part of the ball. You get a little piece of the ball, you get a wrist, they let it go. But that time they felt there was enough contact to call the foul. But again, it was that quick little isolation that gave Trace Jackson-Davis enough space to work. Nunji didn't take away the baseline, which gave him enough room. Jackson-Davis to kind of maneuver and get to the basket.
14 for Trace Jackson-Davis in this first half. Over 25% of the possessions Indiana has on a normal basis run through him in the low block. More tonight, I think.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, even if he doesn't shoot it, sure. The threat part of him having the pill in his hands and then as he's grown in maturity, he's a better decision maker out of the post if he feels pressure.
The question about Indiana is going to be, can they get that outside shooting when it works through the post? And we got a technical foul.
He turned and talked to the bench. Xavier Johnson, now you hit the shot. You can't give you the who did what thing, because even if you didn't say anything, the gesture itself that you turned and looked at the bench is how the officiating crew react. Now watch here. Beautiful shot, driving kick. You knock it in and watch the turn. Right there. Now, to me, now he must have said something, because that's really not a lot. But who was there? Which official was right there? Larry Serrano was right. And usually he's more tempered.
Yep.
In regard to that. So he must have said something that was outside of the college language.
Well, it's one of the things that they're trying to crack down on. Yeah. It's a sportsmanship issue. It's one of the things they want to take out of the game.
Yeah, but you know, the excitement of some games, I understand that. I like young men to show some exuberance. As long as you're not pointing or saying some derogatory thing, I'm fine with it. So I don't know what he said, but he got teed up.
So not only did he get teed up, but that's his second personal foul.
Yeah.
So that's
now he has to sit.
Now he's sitting down for the final 2:53 of this first half.
Yeah, you taking a guy that was 4 for 4, 11 points, breaking down the defense. You just got to play solid for Indiana.
There's Fremantle.
Nice.
Against Cobb.
I tell you what, both squads have some beautiful sets that they run in order to free up some space, not just for the post players, but guards coming around to be able to get some dribble penetration. That time, excellent pass and finish. 9 for Fremantle in this first half. Coming off his triple-double on Tuesday, the 5th in the history of Xavier basketball, and a turnover. Colby Jones with the takeaway. Minutes until halftime. Fremantle spins baseline. No rebound. Trace Jackson Davis, his third. Yeah, Fremantle got the matchup he wanted. One-on-ones. Ramos a little bit shorter. Fremantle just not able to knock that one in. Oh, nice spin down to Trace Jackson Davis. Look at the defense collapsing on him. 3. Shafino, the freshman from deep. You're Mike Woodson. Listen, you're right where you want to be, only down 2 in a hostile environment. We'll take that back down 4. Things are happening quickly here tonight. Timeout Xavier before we get to halftime. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit. We saw the Trace Jackson Davis turned it over. Watch the big on big, okay? Now this is when you got to dribble out maybe just a little bit and see behind the defense, because Xavier's doing a really good job sometimes of bringing a big, sometimes bringing a guard, or sometimes not doubling at all. And what that's saying is that they don't want Jackson Davis to get a steady dose of the same defense. So he feels a little uncomfortable, which worked on that play when he turned it over because he was too quick with his decision. Good thing we've got a couple of quick decision makers in the Jeep halftime report. Dan Helly and Casey Jacobson are waiting, eager, and excited with first half highlights and stats. Coming up on the Jeep halftime report. Preview of our second game. What a doubleheader we've got on a Friday night. This thing's an outstanding matchup. And then Villanova, Michigan State. Ooh. And who thought, you know, Michigan State, it was kind of like looking like, okay, we know they got some good freshmen, some good guys coming back. What kind of team are they? And underrated, Tom Izzo. Underrated, and you know, showed their wares in the game that they should have won against the Zags, but they didn't. They learned from it, and he came back able to get a big dub the other night. So one of my faves, you know. I'm sure Coach Izzo has not used that as any sort of motivation for his team. They're underrating you. Yeah, you know it. Another beautiful drawn-up play out of timeout to get an isolation. For Jackson Davis inside. Now he showed that touch. Little jump hook inside. He's got 16 in the first half. He's been tremendous. Is he efficient or what? Claude floats it over Trace Jackson Davis. Won't go. Kopp will push it up the floor. Indiana can tie with a 2. Grab the lead with a 3. They'll take the 2. No, but they'll have to get it at the line.
foul on Colby Jones on the block, his first.
Well, and I say this too, is that if you keep your eye on Trey Galloway, you can't see it, but see how far he's down the court? That took the primary defender on the weak side away, which opened up the play for Jackson Davis to receive that pass. If Galloway doesn't run like that, defender is staying in the lane and you don't get that pass.
Run hard, work hard.
Yeah.
Good things happen.
And, that's a selfless play because he didn't get the ball, but his teammate was able to receive a pass and pick up a foul.
Xavier's lead once 9 down to 1 as we close in on halftime. Kunkel lobbing for Nungy. Oh, he wanted to throw that down from here to Cincinnati's east side, and Nungy will go to the line with the foul. Goodness.
But I tell you what, it's so great to see Jack healthy. Okay, first and foremost.
Yep.
Because he's always had the talent, but because of injuries, it limited his time on the court and hit him really growing as a player. But now you see the value of what he brings to the table when his wheels are right and what he can do. I mean, a grad, senior, perfect timing.
4 years at Iowa, and he had to deal with 2 significant knee injuries. Only 5 games his sophomore year there. Then late in that 2020-2021 season, another knee injury. And
well, better late than never. And maybe the change in philosophy here, you see how it benefits, I think, he and Fremantle when they can interchange playing on the post or playing on the perimeter. So they're able to show their versatility.
2-point advantage. Winding down towards halftime. Indiana holding for the final shot. Jalen Hood-Schifino. 10 seconds till the break. The freshman. Trace Jackson Davis able to secure. Spinning inside. Muscles it no. Tip try won't go. Rebound secured. Xavier. Halftime arrives. And the Musketeers lead by a pair at the break.
Yeah, the Musketeers, listen, 15 for 33, 4 for 8 from behind the line, able to stave off an Indiana run. Feel good about that.
40-38, Xavier by 2 at halftime. Stay tuned after the break. It's the Jeep Halftime Report. Dan Helly and Casey Jacobson in a moment.
Only one. 40-38. Xavier on top of Indiana at halftime, shooting 50% from distance. Adam Kunkel with 3 of his 5 in the first half. Welcome inside our FS1 studios alongside Casey Jacobson. I'm Dan Helly, and we talk about balance. Xavier certainly had it in this game. Indiana scoring seemingly every single basket in the paint, Casey.
The strength of this Indiana offense for the last couple of years has ran through Trace Jackson Davis and the interior. That remains the case in this first half. Trace has got 17 points. That's a game high. He's unguardable around the basket. Indiana finally hit some threes late. But Xavier's offense a little bit more nuanced. Zach Fremantle has got a rhythm last couple of games. Kiki Tandy has got a nice rhythm, as well as Sule Boom and others. My 2 questions are about Indiana. Can they win on the road? The Hoosiers have not won a non-conference true road game since 2011. Think about that, folks, at home. And the other thing is, can they make three-point shots? This Hoosier team last year ranked last in the Big Ten in three-pointers made and attempted. 2 for 7 in that first half. They need a little bit more production there.
Yeah, that road streak, the longest of any Power 6 team. Trace Jackson Davis, by the way, shooting 71% coming into this game, 7 of 8 from the field in this one. So after starting last season or finishing last season on a 21-game losing streak, Georgetown started this year with back-to-back wins before falling to Northwestern in the Gavitt tip-off games. Tonight, they try to get back on track against Loyola Marymount in the Jamaica Classic. Second half, Cam Shelton with a nice pass to Justin Arns, who knocks down the corner 3. Part of a 15-2 Lions run, LMU up by 3. Later in the second, up by 7. Shelton misses the layup. No fear. Rick Isanza is here. The putback dunk. LMU wins it 84-66. Meanwhile, UMass, Murray State, and Myrtle Beach, less than 7 seconds to go. Noah Fernandez with two hands in his face, gets it up and it goes. They can't believe it. Fernandez gets it off in time. He finishes with 14 points. UMass wins a close one, 71-69. Tom Izzo putting his team up against the best competition right out of the gate. Coming up, we're going to preview Michigan State's matchup with Villanova. Games doubleheader. It's Villanova taking on Michigan State. That's tonight, 8 Eastern, right here on FS1. All right, so you look at this one, Villanova and Michigan State. Villanova, of course, playing with the new coach. They're not playing with the full deck because two of their best players, if not their two best players, are hurt right now. Then you have Michigan State coming off that huge double overtime win over Kentucky on Tuesday. This game is more important for who?
This is a tough question, but I'm going to go with Villanova. Now, it is important to put it into context because the two best players, in my opinion, are out, right? Justin Moore tore his Achilles in the NCAA tournament game. He's not going to be available for a long time. Cam Whitmore, their five-star freshman, had thumb surgery. He should be back in a couple of weeks. But Villanova's on the road. They are the underdog. They are not expected to win this game, but it's important because if they win, it will answer questions that we might have about this team's potential. Remember, Michigan State already proved that in their loss, their one-point loss against Gonzaga on that aircraft carrier. Then they followed up with a win in double overtime against Kentucky. We know about Michigan State. We don't really know about Villanova yet.
Yeah, we know Sparty's ceiling. We don't know the floor yet. A win for Villanova would be absolutely huge. Meanwhile, Xavier Johnson getting it done in the first half. Tough layup. He has 11 points. Xavier up by 2 over Xavier Johnson's Hoosiers. Second half coming up.
Half with Jim Jackson. I'm Kevin Kugler. Good ball game in the first. Hopefully we keep it going in the second half here tonight. Take a look at our Jeep first half stats. Both teams 15 of 33 from the floor. Xavier a little better from behind the arc. Yeah. Indiana a skosh better in the paint.
Well, but isn't this what we expected, kind of a nip and tuck game? Xavier was able to get out early on, I think, the excitement of the crowd. But Indiana kind of whittled their way back into it. Xavier able to hold them off. So expect more of the second half. See if Indiana can defensively create some more opportunities to get out in transition. That's where they had success. And be able to get behind the three-point line. But Xavier doing a good job of trying to figure out how to get the ball inside the paint with their high-low action.
Well, it's a good thing that Trace Jackson Davis and Xavier Johnson made the trip today. 28 points for the two of them. The rest of the team 10 tonight. If you're picking a third guy that's going to get going in the second half, who's more likely on this Indiana team to find a little bit of a rhythm?
I would think that Miller Kopp would find some more opportunities within the offense the hotter that Trace Jackson Davis gets. Because now you're going to have to start sending guys his way. And if Kopp is on the opposite side, the ball will kind of find his way around. So let's keep an eye on that. I also see Kobe Jones in the second half. He's settled down. He's played the first half. Let's see if he can kind of find a rhythm offensively as well.
Jones with 4 in that first half. Here's Sule Boom on the drive and the dish. Nunji couldn't finish, and Xavier Johnson on the push. Doesn't have numbers, doesn't care. Johnson on the drive is fouled on the floor.
Well, but he doesn't have numbers, but because Jackson Davis ran the floor, you had nobody back inside the paint. And watch, he gets his defender on the side. Sule Boom right there. And Kiki kind of reaches in a little bit half-heartedly. So if they're not going to stop you, you just maintain your dribble, get yourself to the basket, pick up a foul.
That's a big foul, too. Number 3 on Boom, and what an inbound and finish. Race Thompson ties it up.
But that's just, I'm going to say, excellent underneath out of bounds, but also poor execution defensively by Xavier by allowing the ball to come straight inside the key.
Nunji, baseline jumper won't go. Hoosiers last led at 4-3. Looking for the lead early in the second half. Xavier Johnson directing some traffic. Kopp with 12 to shoot. Johnson on the attack, the drive, and the finish of the Hoosiers lead. Three. Strong, good box out by the freshman.
Yeah, good box out right there. Understanding where the ball was getting. There's Kopp right there. Not able to knock it in, but good look in transition. because you did have Jackson Davis underneath, not able to get the board, but you got a good look.
And as you said, the ball's going to find Kopp for more opportunities in the second half.
No, it is. It should. No high, low action they're trying to get.
Jones, everything but the bucket, and Johnson will walk it up.
Just a little bit. You know, that time didn't really have his legs up underneath him on that shot. Kind of almost flat-footed. Came off a little flat.
And a hold is going to be called on Fremantle. It's number 2 on the senior from Teaneck, New Jersey.
That time, just take a look when it gets reversed and he pulls. Larry rattles my man, but I'm gonna say you missed that one. I thought it was good defense by Zach by backing up a little bit, and that took Race Thompson a little bit off balance.
Another opportunity for Indiana. Johnson, 15 to shoot. Hood-Schifino, 8 on the shot clock, leaving for Trace Jackson Davis. Little bit strong, and the work done by Race Thompson to try to keep it alive. It'll belong to Xavier, but good effort.
Yeah, good effort. And, you know, a moving target is hard to block out. And that's Race Thompson because he's in constant movement, understanding where the ball is going to come off. Now, he didn't, you know, get the ball, keep the possession alive, but he's still a threat, as you saw, with just getting his hand on it.
Jones driving on Jackson Davis. He got into a little rhythm like that in the first half.
I like to see him drive a little bit more. That loosens up the defense. Plus, it may get him to the free throw line where he can develop a rhythm, you know, for that outside shot.
And free throws coming for Xavier Johnson. I believe that's number 4 on Sule Boom.
Yeah, well, let's go back to Kobe Jones. Again, a pet play for Xavier, which is to have their best ball handlers that are right-handed to turn the corner to see if they can get an advantage. He's able to use the basket as a deterrent against Trace Jackson Davis to use the other side of the rim and score. How about that? Boom, 4 fouls.
Not the kind of boom that Sean Miller is looking for.
Well, you lose a decision maker, a young man that loves to push pace, can score in transition. So now you're talking 7:18 left, 4 fouls. You won't see him probably until after the 8-minute timeout, maybe, unless Sean Miller tries to sprinkle in a minute or 2 here or there to get him in the game. But keep those heat pads over there for him.
Well, it may come back to the thing we were talking about earlier with Sean Miller. He said, I really don't know these guys in these situations yet. Do you trust somebody to come into a game for a minute or 2?
Good call. You haven't built up enough really good equity in your squad to know if that is the case. You would think you could, being a 6-year senior, but you don't know. It's too risky right now, too.
Yeah. Second on Kopp. Xavier will inbound down a pair early second half. Other than that little surge that saw Xavier take a 9-point lead, this has been nip and tuck throughout. Kunkel on the attack, looking for a baseline drive. Step back 2 is good. We're tied at 44.
No, I like the mixture with Kunkel, too. Can knock it down from 3, but not afraid to use his dribble to create an opportunity. Nice little shoulder in the chest to create that space to get the shot off.
Well, Trace Jackson Davis just right there as the ball caromed around, found it, and he's got 19.
That's just good energy. The ball stayed right by his ankles.
It's clean living.
That's right.
Kunkel, elbow to elbow as he backs it out. Now Kunkel working hard. Trying to find some space from Trey Galloway. Here's Nunji. Had Jackson Davis on his hip, but he can't finish it off. Hood-Schifino in the open floor, attacking that Xavier defense, and the freshman draws the contact of the foul.
But you got to keep in mind, this Hoosiers defense was ranked as the most efficient in the Big Ten by Ken Pong, 24th in the nation. And you see right here the pass inside, bobbled, deflected, but ends up with Jackson Davis finishing. So they held their opponents to a league, 39-40% shooting. So this is something that Coach Mike Woodson wanted to establish. Defensively, we're going to be very good, while our offense takes time to kind of create its own kind of magic. And we see that now in the second half. Indiana kind of tightening the screws a little bit more defensively.
Tough inbound taken away by Colby Jones. On the push, Fremantle, a little bobble, gets regathered, and it's stripped away by Jackson Davis. Outstanding defense. Now Trace Jackson Davis running the floor and bumped along the baseline. Timeout on the floor. Starting to get intense in Cincinnati. Fremantle's foul takes us to break in a 2-point. Sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep, there's only one. There's only two between Indiana and Xavier right now. 46-44, 15-54 remaining in the second half. With Jim Jackson, I'm Kevin Kugler. It's an important game for Indiana on the road against an upper division team because the schedule gets a little bit stricter at the end of November when North Carolina comes calling. They go on the road. Always hard to win in Piscataway these days with Steve Peichel. Kansas on the road coming up. Not going to be an easy
Arizona.
test. Yeah, Mike Woodson's squad's got some tough ones coming up.
But, I'm telling you, that's what you want to test your wares, so to speak, in regards to what you got to do. But also, I think it plays in the hands of this. You play outside your league, there's another interior pass inside that's just too easy. The second one Indiana was able to get. But you play those type of teams out of conference. Why? Because you're not going to see what they do in conference. You get a chance to see it in the tournament later.
Yeah, what a take by Desmond Claude to get Xavier back within two after that outstanding out-of-bounds play from Malik Renew.
Yeah, but Sean Miller can't be happy that two interior passes from underneath out of bounds got clean looks for the Hoosiers.
There's Renew against Fremantle. Jackson Davis. And a whistle to foul. Kunkel commits the personal foul, his first. Sixth team foul on Xavier in the second half, only one against Indiana.
Well, let's see if Kunkel, anytime you slap down, a lot of times officials look at that, and that looked like a really good play. Now, the angle is different. No, he got him on the wrist. Got him on the arm. Now, smart Indiana, drive the basketball, see if you can pick up a foul and get into the penalty, go to the free throw line, or you can score a basket.
Yeah, that is also acceptable to Mike Woodson. I shouldn't put words in his mouth. You played for the man. I'm sure he's happy with the bucket.
Yes, he is.
And we've got a whistle and a foul on Tamar Bates. Bates was trying to sneak away. It's like, you took that last cookie from the cookie jar and you didn't want mom to see it, and then mom caught you.
The bang play. I think that was Terry Oglesby able to catch it on the far side.
Second on Bates. Second on Indiana in this second half. Nunji, the entry. There's Colby Jones going to go with this one. Down the baseline. Floater won't go. The rebound, Renew.
A good box out there, time inside, but Colby Jones understood that he had the baseline open. That was a correct play, just couldn't finish it.
Jackson Davis, baseline drive. Pretty. He's got 21, and we've got a whistle on the other end of the floor, and Renew got tangled up with Deontay Miles jockeying for position, and the whistle's getting a little tighter right now.
I mean, it was Nunji, actually. So Nunji, you can't go for that steal. Just play solid. The ball is coming in. You have height. Once he went for the steal, it opened up the baseline for Jackson Davis. Now, on the other end, Nunji being smart, he ran directly towards Renew, enticed him to kind of take that shot, and Renew picked up that foul. Just take a look right here. Watch Jack Nunji right there. Try to get in between. See how he throws his arms up?
Sneaky.
Oh, smart.
Sule Boom back on the floor with 4 fouls, entering at the 14-20 mark.
Wow. Keep our eye on that.
Kunkel off the mark, push up the floor. Renew starts it, Buchafino leaves behind for Renew. Freshman to freshman for 2, and a technical is called. Renew with the talking and the look.
Well, let's go back to the first half. It was Xavier Johnson, because of the extracurricular activity, which doesn't seem like much, but in today's world, in today's game, they want to get any kind of taunting out of the situation. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. I don't mind a little talk, a little chatter, but the officials now are more guarded and alert to call anything that looks like a taunt.
And the officials have been stressed that you have to call it.
And you have to, because you're getting graded as an official.
Right. The 3 officials on the floor in any game you're watching didn't just sit down ahead of the game and write the rules. This is the emphasis.
Yep.
This wants to be taken out of the game. It's their job to call the rules as written, and whether you like that or not, they're going to call that every single time, and they've called it twice tonight.
And it's up to players and coaches as this season matriculates into conference play to get accustomed to more stringent rules in regards to the extracurricular activities after you score and make a great play.
Yeah, you'll see it more in non-conference play. 6-point lead for IU. Kunkel thought about pulling the trigger on that 3. This one he will. And he'll hit it. What a shot for Xavier at a key moment.
Yeah, but you know what? He knew that Race Thompson was on him. He called for the ball to come back to him, knowing he could get that shot.
3-point ball game. Crowd trying to lull Xavier back. Buchafino drives in. Offensive rebound, Race Thompson. And Thompson is fouled. Colby Jones with the knee. His second, team's 7th. So at the 13:22 mark, Indiana will shoot the rest of the way.
Xavier has been really proficient, 5 of 11 from behind the line. And Kunkel, like I talked about, knew he had Race Thompson as a mismatch. Didn't take the first 4 shot, able to get it back on a swing to knock it in.
One more to go. Thompson with 5. Hoosiers by 4.
Race Thompson talked about his activity. 3 offensive rebounds of his 6. So just staying active, and a number were right there in his hands. He was able to keep the possession alive by tipping it out. So a tough matchup for anyone trying to keep a body on Thompson.
We've got a violation. So another opportunity for Thompson.
A little more choppy in the second half, right? A little choppy.
It looks more like a November game than the first half did.
Yeah.
Uneven.
Yep.
Everybody trying to figure each other out.
But that's when you rely on some leadership, and
if Jones can provide it, stumbling on his way up the floor, the ball out of bounds, it'll stay with Xavier.
And that experience to kind of settle in a little bit more and understanding that the rhythm is not there. This one, it was going to be a tough ask for Colby Jones anyway. It's kind of 2 guys in the paint. And he trips over, and it goes off of the leg of Trey Galloway. It's a good call by the officials.
There's Fremantle. Dump down low to Jones. Fremantle in the paint. Little teardrop.
Smart though. It was Race Thompson that kind of provided a little support, a half in between double team. Wasn't always there. That opened up the pass inside.
Pinballs around into the hands of Fremantle. Turnover to Xavier. Can tie with a 2. Can regain the lead with a 3. Kunkel. There's Jones for the lead. Fremantle. Thompson takes it away. Johnson to push. Xavier got back quickly. Indiana sets up in the half court. Jackson Davis against Nunji. Left hand hook falls. Pretty again, 23.
That's his touch, brother, and talent. Over a footer inside, you know what I mean?
A veteran, too.
Oh, yeah.
Fremantle, catch, off the window. Nungy, offensive board, no. He wanted the call, so did Sean Miller, didn't get it. And Indiana up the floor with a 4-point lead.
Yeah, but Nungy that time, he didn't have balance. He tried to get it up quickly instead of establishing that base. And his momentum going left took the ball that way and traveled.
Timeout on the floor, Indiana by 4.
Well, but you know, the first 3 to 5 minutes of this second half, Indiana established itself, and why not just get the ball down to Jackson Davis to get the lead for Indiana?
4th-ranked TCU looks to keep their college playoff hopes alive against Baylor. Then at 4 Eastern, Iowa takes on Minnesota. Then 7th-ranked USC battles crosstown rival 16th-ranked UCLA as Pac-12 championship tickets are on the line. It all begins tomorrow, noon Eastern on Fox.
Hold up. Somebody missing there.
Who's missing?
What do you mean? I mean, really?
Nobody missing.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Ohio State, Maryland.
Oh, come on. Always go. I knew it went back to the Buckeyes somehow. I just couldn't figure out a way how you were going to get it there.
Hey, listen, I'm very biased on the football side,
yes,
on the basketball side.
You're right down the middle.
I'm right down the middle. I can have that. How about that Michigan game at the end of the year is going to be something special.
It is.
Very special.
I believe that's on Fox.
You better believe it. I'll be on the West Coast watching it up.
Yes, you will. Early in the morning. There's Kiki Tandy with the take off the window and a chance for one more.
I like the strategy behind that, Wise, because you have to force Indiana, as good as they are defensively, to move. And once you move, now you shift the defense and you have these little gaps that you can exploit, and no one faster than Tandy can get downhill. You see that upper body strength, able to finish with his left hand high off the glass.
Young man's got the chance to have a breakout year. Had the stress fracture last year, cost him all but 5 games before he had to have the surgery on his leg. And you can see him off the dribble as Nungy able to keep it alive and tip it out of bounds off Hood Shafino. It'll stay with Xavier.
But we made the point, too, having Sean Miller, who's had some outstanding point guards throughout his career, coaching career, to be able to settle in between Kiki's ears to what he has to do to continue to come to be better, but also not just individually, but how his play to improves the team overall.
He's a weapon, and he was a prolific scorer in Kentucky in high school. 3,363 points in high school. That's a lot of buckets.
Yeah, you don't forget how to put the ball through the nets. But sometimes you need the encouragement, the right kind of set of circumstances and teammates to kind of jump back on that bicycle, so to speak.
Inside, Nungy. Good seal and good feed.
Well, I mean, how many Hoosiers were around him? It was really good, but all of them had to be under 6'8", so they couldn't get the ball from Nungy.
Xavier Johnson, Thompson. Trace Jackson Davis spinning baseline against Nungy, able to finish through both Nungy and Fremantle. Indiana up a pair again.
I mean, can he make it look any easier? 11 for 13 right now. Now, when you're playing Trace Thompson, you got to understand, when you're playing against Trace Jackson Davis, he's very good at walking the baseline. So you got to inch him a little bit more to use that baseline as a deterrent, as a third defender. See how much more room he has as he's posted up higher? Now he has room to work. You got to take that away from him because he's nimble enough, as we've seen, to navigate the baseline.
Xavier Johnson, the kick out, Race Thompson, 0 for 4 from 3. Offensive rebound, Trace Jackson Davis, and a foul. It'll be on Desmond Claude, his third.
As Davis over the top, able to avoid making contact with Nungy. Just take a look right there. That's a clean play. Now, keep in mind, that's the 8th team foul for Xavier, so we're inching our way closer to the double penalty because Indiana did an outstanding job of creating an opportunity to get in the penalty early.
They established inside right out of the gate in this second half. Trace Jackson-Davis has been established all game. 26 tonight.
Oh, look, 11 for 13, not trying to do anything now. In the offseason, put his name in the draft. A lot of scouts came back and said, well, you want to improve your game in draft status, you need to shoot more threes and do. Have you seen him shoot a three?
No, we have not.
Has he stayed within who he is?
Yes, he has.
Okay.
Has not attempted a three this year, not only in this game.
Right.
Three-point lead for the Hoosiers. Fremantle. The handoff to Jones. 15 to shoot. Jones going to have to go to work. 7 on the shot clock. Finds Kunkel. The three in the corner. Bounces home. A home rim roll for Adam Kunkel. Fifth tie of the day. 13 to shoot. Hood Shafino around the screen. Ball knocked out of his hands, and it'll be Xavier basketball.
Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, or how about just having a very soft touch?
Both things can be true.
They can be.
Fremantle versus Thompson. And a whistle and a foul. Race Thompson with the personal. That is his second.
Good call. Fremantle with the quick spin, but watch Race Thompson at the end with the push. Now right here, beautiful spin. Good defense, but then right there. That doesn't look like much, but what it did is took Fremantle out of the play enough to take that shot. So it did matter, even though it wasn't a forceful amount of contact, but it was enough for a call.
1-and-1 time. Foul on Indiana. 7th team foul. For Kopp, that's his third.
Keep in mind as we go down the stretch, and we'll come back to this, we'll talk about the free throw situation.
Timeout taken by Indiana. 60-60. Good one brewing here in Cincinnati. Kevin Cooper, what a ball game we have here tonight.
Well, we do, but Trace Jackson-Davis is special. And if you don't watch him play, you don't get the appreciation, because he's not just knocking down jump shots. He's utilizing his skill set to be as effective as anybody in the country. Again, what makes him so special and tough to stop is look where he's catching the ball. Always able to get to a spot deep in the post position, then make quick, decisive moves before the defense can react, hence making it a very tough ask for not one, but two, and sometimes three Xavier players to try to stop.
We tend to, at times in the college game, get wrapped up in what the guy is going to do at the next level. And sometimes we don't get to the fact that this is a great college basketball player, and we get to enjoy him in college for one more year.
Well, we're greedy because, and we're being media and people, what he can't do, what he needs to do for the next level. Well, let me tell you something. When guys can play, I'm going to say Draymond Green, when he played at Michigan State, I'm not comparing those two, but Draymond just needed to be put on the court with the right team, and he'll figure it out. Trace Jackson-Davis just needs to be put on the court with the right team, and he'll figure it out.
Front end no good for Colby Jones. 60-60. Indiana and Xavier. 5 ties, 2 lead changes. Xavier led by 2 at the break. Trailed by as much as 8 in this second half. 10 to shoot. Kunkel with the tip. 5 on the shot clock. Jackson-Davis. Fade away in the corner. Shot clock winding down. He had the hoist, and Fremantle the rebound.
And I like the change of defensive philosophy coming out of the timeout by Xavier. 2-3 zone kind of caught Indiana off guard.
Quan will try the 3. Got his own. Here's Jones against Trace Jackson-Davis. Throws it away. Hood Shafino grabs the loose ball.
I mean, the second block of travel that time on Kopp, but how about the block and timing by Jackson Davis? I mean, let me tell you something. He got some springs on the bottom of these legs. Look at this. The timing. Now, he blocks this with his left hand, which is away from the ball. So what kind of timing you have to have for that in order to time it up where it doesn't get close to the rim? Says a lot about this young man and the IQ part of his game as well.
And I think that's an example of how he's developed in the college game as well. I don't think that's a play he can make 2 years ago.
Yep. I'm with you on that one.
Not that he wasn't making plays then, but I'm not sure he makes that one.
With age comes maturity and better understanding of how to be effective. Freeman one-on-one. Got him.
Talk about finding a way to be effective with age.
Yeah.
Zach Freeman will give Xavier the lead.
Yeah, and glad to see Zach healthy as well this year, because he's a tough load when he gets it going.
There's some good big guys to deal with in the Big East this year.
It is. Well, across the country.
The three in the corner, Renew's try won't go. And look at that rebound, just takes it away. And Jackson Davis on the baseline.
Stop it. Jackson Davis, I know Xavier Crowd is unhappy, but he does an excellent job of avoiding the contact on that offensive rebound of Nungi.
Jones muscles it up in a foul against Trey Galloway. Timeout on the floor. 7:07 remaining in this one. Sean Miller and Xavier looking for a win at home, but the Hoosiers trying to stay unbeaten with a bit pretty good. Let's live it up to it right now. 7:07 to go, 62-62. And by the way, it's just game 1 of 2 tonight on FS1. It's another one of those games you looked at the schedule and went, oh, that one's got a pretty good chance to be good. Villanova, Michigan State follows us.
I mean, again, this level of competition, again, you never know, because the matchups, you anticipate they're going to be good. But early in the season, we've seen where these games have been close, down to the wire, whether that's Texas, Gonzaga, whatever we talked about before. I don't think this game will be different. I don't think the Villanova Michigan State game will be different. It's really great for the college basketball game in general.
Well, the Gavitt game's delivering once again.
Yep.
Xavier back on top. Colby Jones. 7 points tonight. 3 of 10 shooting. 0 for 3 from 3, but he's been able to play consistent minutes. 31 minutes
31
tonight.
minutes, yeah. And you would think, too, that he would be fatigued a little bit, which can cause some turnovers and tough shots. He's fought through that. I think Coach Miller's done a good job of kind of grabbing some minutes when he can, and now Xavier back in that 2-3 zone once again.
Xavier Johnson at the top of that zone for 3. Rattles it home, and Indiana back on top by 1.
But that's excellent ball movement, and the reason why you go into a zone is because one-on-one you couldn't stop Trace Jackson Davis, but a little penetration, quick shot, Johnson able to knock it in.
Boom! Sule boom to Zach Freemantle. Xavier by 1. And a foul on the floor.
Right over the top. That time Trey Galloway, unfortunately, is going to be on an NFT somewhere.
Xavier Johnson, 18 points tonight. Oh, good work by Renew.
Yes, Renew kind of taking a page out of Race Thompson's book to keep the ball alive, and then probably not the smartest play by Freemantle. And again, you may have fouled, you may not have, but you didn't really need to reach at that point because you were in good position defensively to have to force the young freshman to make a play.
You know he loves it. That's Dan Gavitt.
Loves it. Been great.
Senior VP of basketball at NCAA.
Stu Jackson is next to him.
Yep. Of course, son of Dave Gavitt. Dan has made his life in basketball as well as Dave. Of course, the Gavitt games This really is a Gavitt game because we have a Gavitt in the crowd.
We think about founder of the Big East as having a conference dedicated to basketball. Terry Weimer, Toledo guy.
Yep.
My man, what's up? But the coincidence with the timing of ESPN really jumping off the Big East, them forming that relationship. When I grew up, that was it for me watching Big East basketball.
Absolutely.
Man, during that time period.
The iconic coaches, the iconic teams.
Unbelievable.
And what's been impressive is to see how the Big East was able to remake itself and build again a brand of consistent, good, solid basketball like it has.
Well, it doesn't hurt that Villanova got two of them things, too.
Yeah, that helps. That helps.
You know what I mean? To solidify the validity of the conference.
There's Jones. Looking for room on the baseline. Nothing there. 6 minutes to play. 1 point Indiana lead. Fremantle with 4 fouls. Jones, 6 to shoot. Boom from deep. And the rebound loose. Boom comes up with it. And a travel. Turnover by Colby Jones. Back to Indiana.
And I think coming down the stretch of the game, the mental mistakes are going to be at a minimum for both sides. The mental errors. That right there is a mental error in regards to shuffling your feet. You take away an outstanding hustle play to retain possession, and you give it right back, but you can make up for it right here by getting a good defensive stop with your Xavier.
Yeah, I know these players have been involved in tight matchups, but neither of these teams have been, as a team, involved in anything like this yet this year. And a whistle and a foul is called on Jones. Number 3 on Colby Jones.
But it's smart basketball from Xavier Johnson perspective. You just drive the ball. Now he hooks Jones right there. It's a smart play if you can get away with it. And he did. Because the next contact was initiated by Colby Jones, which now gets Xavier Johnson to the line.
That's 4 on Jones. And Johnson to the line where he's 4 for 5 tonight. Xavier Johnson.
Well, Indiana's about 77% from the free throw line. Now keep in mind, Xavier shooting about 70. As we tick under 5 minutes, how important making your free throws and not turning the ball over. That's the second consecutive mental mistake for Xavier that you provide a spark that Indiana was able to capitalize off of.
And a timeout taken by Sean Miller. 71-66, Indiana by 5, a 6-0 run keyed by Xavier turnovers and keyed by Xavier Johnson.
Yeah, and down the stretch, it's a team with the mental fortitude to take advantage when their opponent makes a mistake. And Indiana on the roll right now, able to whittle the way. And we talked about their defense last year. It was very important that they established themselves, and that was in the second half. That we're going to be tough-minded, but that's just a lazy pass that leads to a fast break opportunity. An easy 2 for Johnson and the Hoosiers.
22 for Xavier Johnson. As Indiana in the second half, Jim, shooting 63% from the floor. Xavier just 43.5% from the floor. And not only is Indiana red-hot shooting, but some foul problems for Xavier. Boom, Fremantle, Jones, all with 4 personal fouls.
Yeah, that means that we're probably going to see a little bit more zone defense, like we've seen to be able to protect Sean Miller, his players. But still, if you're Indiana, you can still run some man-to-man offense versus that zone. Get it swung quick. See if you can have some driving opportunities to pick up some more fouls.
Fremantle trying to save it, he does. Eight to shoot, boom. With 4 fouls, contested 2. Ball thrown at the rim, it won't go, and Johnson has it and puts the brakes on.
Yeah, another excellent defensive possession. That time by the Hoosiers.
One of the top 25 teams a year ago in the country in the Ken Pom defensive efficiency rating. They came into this game 5th this year. Galloway. 4 to shoot. Renew's going to have to get something going.
Wow.
And he does with 1 on the shot clock. That's a freshman making that move late. Xavier needs a bucket in the worst way. Jones will try to provide it, and he'll go to the line to look for those points after the timeout. Miller Kopp with the personal foul and a timeout in Cincinnati. Can Xavier rally once more late in this second half? The Hoosiers up by 7.
Villanova, Nova paced by forward Eric Dixon, 18 points per game, leading the way for the Wildcats.
On an 8-0 run, they've opened up a 73-66 lead, 3:55 remaining in this second half. Alongside Jim Jackson, I'm Kevin Kugler, our entire FS1 crew on hand for the Gavitt games. Game 2 coming up with Villanova and Michigan State in our Friday night double dip. But for Xavier, they're going to try to get a couple of points at the line, but Jim, they need a little bit of rhythm on both ends. 2 timeouts apiece. Double bonus for Indiana. Xavier still in the single bonus.
Well, you can't turn the ball over. You can't give this Indiana team any kind of momentum. And credit Indiana, I think this team as being cohesive as they are with returning players. They're a little bit more comfortable in their playmaking down the stretch. We've seen a little miscommunication with Conco and also Boom in regards to exchanging passing. Again, the newness part of it, in particular in late game situations when you haven't been in it, you haven't been comfortable yet. This Indiana team has been there.
Yeah.
So keep our eye on that as well as we finish the last 4 minutes.
Crowd trying to rally the home team here. Down by 5 late. And the lob, big to big, young to old, Renew to Jackson Davis, who has 30.
That young man has a level of maturity beyond his age.
3 in the corner. Rebound, Fremantle has it poked away by Johnson.
Renew could have just forced up a shot, but he saw that Jackson Davis had Fremantle on the backside. Just throw it up to the rim. I mean, that's very good basketball, heads up, not forcing to take him what the defense is giving you.
13 other coaches in the Big Ten as that one's lobbed up to Nunji. Just looked at that big pass on the other end and raised their eyebrows a bit. Xavier back within 5, 3:13 to go.
Well, both of these teams are the best, one of the best in the country that have big opportunities to pass the ball on time.
Oh, Johnson, that is all but the bucket. Everything.
Well, you saw Kobe Jones, he didn't want to pick up number 5 either. So he wasn't as aggressive defensively on that possession.
Conco aggressive offensively, and look at that rebound just ripped off the rim by Jackson Davis.
You see Xavier Johnson slowing it down a little bit. The clock is your friend if you're Indiana. For Xavier, you got to figure out ways to get stops or create turnovers. So you can get out and run and maybe get something easy in transition.
What a benefit for Indiana. You have the veterans, the oldest of the old heads at the post and at the point for your team. Here's Kopp in the corner. Open 3. Oh, big bucket. Giant shot for Miller Kopp. And a dime thrown to find him. Fremantle inside. Nunji will go to the line. When they needed Miller Kopp on the other end, he delivered.
But here's the thing, defensively, if you're going to double team, the ball has to come out on the same side. Because if it comes on the skip pass, it's a 2-on-1 on the weak side. You're not going to be able to recover. So the hands have to be up. You have to force that pass from Trace Jackson Davis to come back to the wing. Now you can match up and get back matched up on the weak side, and you're not going to have that open opportunity for Kopp.
One of the things they're hoping to see more from Miller Kopp in conference play. Really struggled last year in Big Ten play. Only hit 24 made threes, and if he can find the consistency that we saw from him at Northwestern.
Well, I think he'd be more comfortable with another year under his belt, under Mike Woodson's system and playing with his guys.
Timeout taken by Xavier with 2:10 to go in this second half. Indiana's lead is 6. Hoosiers with the basketball off the timeout. A couple of made free throws to make it a 78-72 ball game.
Well, I mean, still plenty of time. You're only 2 possessions away from tying this thing up. Okay, so you don't need to force anything for Xavier. What's been working good for you is when you've been able to move the ball and find some high-low situations, or a dribble drive penetration, and then you're able to kick out for an open look. Plenty of time left. No need to panic. Xavier just has to draw up something. I'm sure Sean Miller will try to get something in the paint, an easy basket.
Both teams, for an early season game, Jim, have played relatively clean basketball from a turnover standpoint. 19 combined between the two teams.
Well, yeah, especially for Xavier, because like I talked about, one game they had 20 turnovers, they had 17, 9 in the middle. But against an Indiana team, I say this is pretty good, but they've had 2 critical ones when the game was really tight that allowed Indiana to kind of stretch this lead out.
Villanova, Michigan State to follow when we're done here. A lot of basketball left in this one, though. 2:10 to play in the Cintas Center.
I like the pressure defense up front, force Indiana to be uncomfortable.
Johnson up ahead to Cobb. Now Xavier Johnson will put on the brakes again. Oh, he wasn't looking for it. Jones with the steal. Jones to the other end. The Euro stab. Count it! And the foul!
Well, even if Trey Jackson Davis wasn't looking for it, it was a bad pass. Look where it's at. If he was looking, it got to be outside towards the baseline in order to get it. We talked about making your own opportunity. Xavier at that time on the miscue of Indiana, out in transition, basket, arm, foul, chance for a 3-point play.
Third foul on Xavier Johnson. And a 3-point play carves the lead in half. 78-75. 3-point lead. Pressure again from Xavier. And a foul. I think Colby Jones just got his 5th. It's a big loss. Number 5 on Jones. He leaves with 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists.
And that's the chance you take when you're going to apply pressure at late game situations, when you want to be aggressive to try to get the steal. And that time, Colby Jones, unfortunately, was on the wrong end of the stick in regards to getting that foul call. But Indiana didn't look real comfortable either as they were attacking that pressure by Xavier.
Xavier's won 7 straight at home. They've won 8 straight overall dating to last year. Remember, they won the NIT championship a year ago, so they're one of the few teams that ended the season with a win.
With a dub.
Yeah, doesn't happen a lot.
You're able to set up that pressure defense when I talked about it, that Indiana didn't look too comfortable trying to handle.
Yep. And here it is.
Here it is right here.
Former Hoosier Jerome Hunter guarding the inbound.
Can't get in the corner like that.
Back it goes for Xavier Johnson. 4-point lead for 12th ranked IU. Here's Kopp. 10 on the shot clock. Hood Schifino got it back. Walked out of bounds. And it'll stay with Indiana, 6 to shoot.
And how about Mike Woodson going with the 2 freshmen down the stretch?
How about that? That says a little something, doesn't it?
Well, 2 former teammates at Mount Verdi Academy. Last time that happened at Indiana, Jay Edwards, Lyndon Jones, Marion High School.
Yep.
Former high school teammates. But Race Thompson has been out the game for a little while. But Renew hasn't hurt him.
No, not at all. In fact, he's helped in a couple of ways.
He's helped in a couple ways.
The big lob. Well, there's something to be said, and Mike Woodson has talked about this. Guys who know how to win. Those guys know how to win. You're bringing in youngsters who know this is how you win. They won back-to-back high school national championships at Montverde. They know how to win at a high level.
Well, I tell you this, what's in the huddle with Sean Miller. He's screaming to his team, we need to get a stop right now. Keep in mind, 2 plays underneath out of bounds. Indiana got 2 clean looks. It's almost like in football, special teams or special situation plays have benefited Indiana. Let's see if the attention to detail, not jumping to the outside too soon for Jack Nungy, giving up the pass inside, is going to be there. The frame is long enough to take that away.
Hidden points in football are the same in basketball.
Exactly.
Hidden points.
Good call.
Top looking. 6 to shoot. In the corner. Hood Schifino in some trouble. Has to hoist. Contested jumper, no. And out of bounds. It'll belong to Xavier. 1:13 to go in a 4-point game.
And that's the stop you got. Sean Miller wants to push it up quick and attack. You don't have to take the 3 unless you're taking the timeout.
And there's the timeout. Final timeout used by Xavier. Indiana has 1 timeout remaining, and of course everybody over the limit.
Well, you say, well, why would you use the timeout in that situation? Because it's a critical possession. And you need to be able to either get a 2 or 3 here, or maybe pick up a foul, get to the free throw line. There's a big-time possession to cut it to 1 possession for Xavier.
And remember, Xavier does not have one of their floor generals out there in Colby Jones.
That's right.
Fouled out
Good call.
a few moments ago. Upcoming schedule, the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament. Hey, by the way, how'd you enjoy Indiana? Great. Here's Florida. Here's Duke or Oregon State. Here's TBA, which, I mean, it could be Gonzaga. It could be somebody. Yeah. Southeast Louisiana and then West Virginia on December 3rd. That is not exactly a cakewalk for a first-year coach who's really in his 6th year at this school.
Yeah, so much success was the 4 tournament appearances when Sean Miller was here previously, Sweet 16. But, I mean, he's back to a comfort zone for him.
Well, we've got a 4-point game with 70 seconds to play here in Cincinnati. Coming up next, Villanova and Michigan State. We're going to go right out there when we're done to close out the Gavitt games.
Yeah, sorry, Casey and guys in the studio. Have no feel, baby. You have no going site to site. So keep those notes you had ready. Transfer them over to the next halftime.
Casey just crumpled them up and threw them out.
Away.
Got nothing I can say about this game now.
At all.
Sorry, Casey.
Wrap-up show. Wrap-up show.
Yeah, save it for later.
Right, let's see what Sean Miller has in his trick bag right here offensively to get a quick score.
In the boom. Uncle was asking for it. Boom now with 18 to shoot as we slide under a minute to play. Boom. Step back 3. Oh, it rolls home. 1-point game. Sule Boom with the biggest shot of his young Xavier career. To Jackson Davis. 10 to shoot. Pass taken away. Turnover. Xavier looking for the lead. No timeouts. Boom. Bumped on his seat. In trouble. Possession arrow. Indiana ball. Boom hit the deck. And the turnover back to the Hoosiers.
Well, indecisive. And if Sean Miller has a timeout when he's noticed that Sule Boom wasn't comfortable, he could have called a timeout, but you take your right kind of into traffic a little bit. I think that Funk should have stayed down. He brought his man to him. A little confusion there by Xavier. Sean Miller says the early games and what we have to learn, all is still not lost. You know, tough situation to get this ball in. Any kind of deflection could head towards Xavier's way.
You know when Sean Miller never had that look? When he was doing media last year.
There you go.
the floor. Xavier swarming. Cop in trouble, gets rid of it.
You got a foul.
And now you got to foul the freshman. Renew got rid of it, and there's a whistle and a foul. Renew fouled with 12.9 seconds to go. A lot of time elapsed.
Well, but you want the first pass to come out to see if you can get a trap and get a steal. That second pass that comes out, that double team, that's when you got a foul. So Xavier probably allowed 3 to 4 seconds off of the game clock to go by without fouling when they should have fouled earlier. But Renew, freshman at the line, it may benefit Xavier that Renew had the ball. We'll see. He's played big so far for a young man.
One more to go. These free throws hit a little different than the ones earlier in the game.
You think? It is 3 for 6 coming into this game.
Xavier again, no timeouts. Any foul means 2 free throws. 12.9 to play. Renew with one more at the line.
And Xavier, you got to box out and get this. If he misses, you can't allow Jackson Davis to get inside and keep this possession alive.
Nunji working against Jackson Davis. Missed it. Nunji rebound. 10 seconds. No timeouts. Here's Kunkel. Kunkel, the drive. No. Rebound. Johnson. And a foul with 2 seconds to go in Cincinnati.
Everything was right for Xavier. The missed free throw, the box out, the scramble on defense, Kunkel churning the corner. But just a little contest by Renew forces Kunkel to throw it up a little bit higher. Watch this. See right there? If he doesn't come over, that may be an underneath layup right to the basket, and Kunkel knows that. Everything was right except for the end result for Xavier.
So Renew, who wasn't able to make the free throws, ends up making a big play on the defensive end. Freshman in a key spot.
But that's why you don't get credited for a block shot.
Well, before we get these final 2 seconds, let's check in with Dan Hellie in our studio.
The back end of our doubleheader going on right now. Villanova, Michigan State on FS2, moving to FS1 at the conclusion of this game. And what a good one it's been. Kev, JJ, take it away.
All right, Dan, thanks very much. Xavier Johnson, 2 free throws. That's 3 misses in the final few seconds for Indiana. And Xavier will have at least a glimpse. No timeouts again, though. 2 seconds to work with. Two-point game. Fremantle will inbound. Deflected. Johnson grabs it. Indiana survives on the road. 81-79. Hoosiers with the win by 2 over the Musketeers.
But the tip pass, a little aftershock by both players. I mean, this is a heck of a game, buddy. Heck of a game.
What a night. What a start to the night on FS1. For Jim Jackson and our entire crew, I'm Kevin Kugler. We're done here. 2-point win for Indiana. But we head out to Bill Raftery, Aaron Goldschmidt, and our crew in East Lansing for Villanova and Michigan State.
And I welcome those of you who watched a thriller just moments ago as Aikens